You ever wonder what makes the difference, between just saying something and telling a story that actually makes someone stop and listen? Well, today we're diving into exactly that, the craft of telling things that really, truly connect with people. And we've got a fantastic field guide to help us figure it out.
And right off the bat, our source material hits us with this gem. I mean, think about that. Truth wears costumes so we don't flinch. It's this idea that stories and jokes, they're not just fluff. They're the vehicles we use to deliver powerful, sometimes difficult truths in a way that people can actually receive. They let us get closer to the truth without getting scared off.
So that's the big question, isn't it? What is that secret? Is it some kind of magic that a few people are just born with? Or is it something else? Well, the good news is, according to this guide, it is absolutely a skill. And it's one that anyone, and I mean anyone, can learn.
Okay, before we get into the how-to, we really have to get grounded in the why. Because if you understand the deep human reasons we tell stories in the first place, you're already halfway there. This is about way more than just being entertaining at a dinner party. It's fundamental.
Think about it. First, we tell stories to belong. It's like saying, hey, this is what the world felt like from inside my head for a second. It's how we find our people. We also do it to make meaning, to draw a little map through the absolute chaos of life. And if you really want to move people, to actually inspire change, a spreadsheet's not going to do it. A story will. And finally, there's laughter, which is just the best emotional pressure valve we've got. A good joke can save a whole room.
So, if it's this important, there must be some kind of secret formula, right? Well, our guide says, yeah, kinda. It's not a rigid set of rules you have to follow, but there is a simple universal blueprint, a story spine that holds up pretty much every great story, anecdote, or joke you've ever heard.
And here it is, the 4-part story spine. It's so simple, it's beautiful. First, you need context. Just where are we? Who are we talking about? Then something has to happen, the spark. This is the moment that breaks the normal routine. That spark forces a shift, which is the real core of your story. Something changes for good. And you end with the afterglow. That's what you leave your audience with. The feeling, the lesson, the laugh that sticks around.
And here's the amazing part. This isn't just for epic novels or movies. This skeleton works for everything. A 5-minute story you tell your buddy over coffee, a quick anecdote in a work meeting, even a simple one-liner. You can make it longer or shorter, but you absolutely have to have those 4 bones.
All right, so we have the blueprint, but what are we building? Our guide gives us 3 main tools to choose from in our storytelling toolkit, and each one is for a different kind of job.
I just love these metaphors. A story is a journey. It's designed to take your listener from point A to point B. A joke? Well, it's a trap, but the good kind. It sets up an expectation and then snap. And an anecdote? That's a Polaroid, a quick, instant snapshot of a real moment. So, which one do you use? Well, there are trade-offs. Stories are the heavy hitters. They create deep connection and are super persuasive. But man, they take time, and you can lose your audience if you're not careful. Jokes are amazing for a quick bond, but they're so sensitive to the context, and we all know how loud the silence is when a joke completely bombs. And anecdotes are your go-to versatile tool for making a point feel human. You just have to make sure they have a point and don't feel random.
Okay, so you know the framework, you've picked your tool, but how do you make it really shine? How do you make it land with real impact? That all comes down to the polish.
First up, timing. It's like this invisible current running underneath everything you say. The big rule here? Tight always beats long. Get to the point. And learn to love the pause. Silence is an empty space. It's a drumbeat that adds rhythm and emphasis. And when you're done, be done. A great ending doesn't need to explain itself. Just exit.
Next, let's talk about shaping the thing. A huge tip is to start as late as you possibly can. Get right to the action. Use concrete details. Don't just say a cup, say a red ceramic mug. It puts a picture in people's heads. Also, try to stick to just one great metaphor. And for the love of all that is holy, trim all that throat clearing at the beginning. The other day I was thinking, just jump in.
And really, it all comes down to this. This is the mantra. Look at every single word, every sentence, and ask, is this earning its keep? Is it doing its job? If not, it's gotta go. Every single piece has to pay rent for the time and space it's taking up. All right, let's do a quick little deep dive on one of those tools, the joke. You don't have to be a professional comedian.
our guide gives us 3 super simple templates that can help anyone build a little moment of humor.
First up is the zigzag. This is all about misdirection. You lead the audience down one path, you make them think they know where you're going, and then you make a sharp, unexpected turn that somehow still makes perfect sense. That surprise is where the laugh lives.
Then there's the absolute classic, the rule of 3. Our brains are pattern-finding machines. So you give them 2 things that create a pattern, 1, 2, and then the third one smashes that pattern to pieces. It's a simple formula, but it works almost every time.
And finally, for those feeling a little more advanced, we have the callback. This is where you bring back a detail or a phrase from earlier in your story. When you nail it, it's so satisfying. It creates this little inside joke with your audience and makes them feel smart. Just don't overdo it.
So, we have the blueprint, we have the tools, we have the pro tips for polishing. How do we pull it all together? Well, at the end of the day, it's about making it your own and just finding the courage to speak up. And our guide leaves us with some really essential wisdom for the road. First, tell your stories from the scar, not the open wound. In other words, share what you've processed. Always, always respect your listeners' time. Edit for them, not for you. And please, let your weirdness show. Your quirks are your signature. And maybe most important of all, don't chase perfection. Honesty connects. Perfection keeps people at a distance.
And I want to leave you with this final thought because it's just so profound. A good story holds up a mirror. It lets us see ourselves more clearly. But a great story hands you a window ledge. It gives you a way to open up a whole new view, a perspective you never even knew existed.
Which of course brings it all back to you. Now that you have this field guide, this blueprint for connection, what's the story that's inside you just waiting to be told?